Good afternoon, welcome back to my little gardening show. I wanted to make a little video just kind of giving a little review of the Palram greenhouse and kind of my experience so far, starting seeds in it, growing stuff in it. Overall it's been pretty good. A little bit of a learning curve, definitely. But as you can see, things are pretty healthy now. Especially with the weather warming up and just getting better at managing the temperature of the greenhouse. That's probably the biggest thing, and I mean that's kind of a no-brainer, is being able to manage the temperature that you're growing in. Ideally, you want things in the 80 degree range. When it's much above that, I mean it does affect the plants. Some of them really love it, like the peppers. But even at that, having stuff in these trays, they dry out quickly. So ideally, having it at about 85 degrees or so, maybe 90 is ideal. The challenge is that the way this greenhouse is designed is as soon as the sun, especially when the sun is out, it's really easy for the temperature to kick up over like 100 degrees, 110 degrees, at least according to our little makeshift thermometer. Then, we're talking Fahrenheit. Celsius, I guess, would be, 40 degrees Celsius. So anyway, that's been a challenge. When it gets that hot, it's hard for the plants, especially the ones that don't maybe like it that hot, like the lettuce. Some of the greens, things that, Swiss chard and all that. And peppers, it's okay, but maybe on a little bit of the extreme end. Tomatoes as well. So ideally, if you can keep it at, around 85 degrees, that's ideal. So to do that, we keep the door open on the nicer days. The automatic opener opens up quite a bit, 6 or 8 inches, to maintain that. And then we recently installed this window louver. I don't have the automatic piece on it yet because it's actually the one that was sent to me is for the Rion greenhouse. I don't think they make one especially for the Harmony greenhouse, so I can manually just open this for now, and then we're going to figure out a way to modify the one we got, since I don't think they make an automatic opener for this model to work with this, so that this would be automated as well at some point. But I've got this installed on the west side of the greenhouse to allow for airflow as the wind's coming in, hitting the greenhouse, air comes in, helps cycle out the hot air out the top here and also out the door. So between those three things, we keep it, pretty nice, probably about 10 to 15 degrees warmer than it is outside. And it's worked out pretty well. And then at night, close the louver, close the door, and then this closes automatically. Though during the summer, it's going to be interesting to see how this sets it. It's probably going to stay open. I don't know, that's going to be interesting to see how that works out. So anyway, managing the temperature is probably the biggest challenge in growing in the greenhouse. On the flip side, to keep it warm in here when it's really cold outside and everything's closed up, like in the 30s or below, this will still get up to 50, 60 degrees in here unassisted, as long as the sun's out and heat, can come through energy of the sun. We also have a little space heater that we rigged up electricity coming up through, the corner here. We're able to run a line here without damaging anything, and then up through the floor of the greenhouse. And just plug that up to an extension cord when we need it. Early spring, like late February, I guess into winter, into March, or if we were to garden in the winter out here, this thing would be on quite a bit to keep the temperature up to where it needs to be. During the really colder days, like 15, 20 degrees, this would probably still need to be on if we wanted the temperature in here to be 60. So that's one of the things we did to keep the temperature up. And we kind of did that late. We kind of figured that out. We lost 2/3 of the tomatoes. So that's managing temperature. The next thing is the hardening off process, managing the sunlight that comes in here. There's a couple things we did on that early on. We had a shade cloth. We screened. They actually sell a shade cloth kit that I'll probably get. I was able to use these. See if I can get an angle on that. These clips that just twist. They twist into the ribs here. There's an opening that twists, and then there you go. And it's designed for hanging pots, but they're also they make some so that you can attach a shade cloth to it to provide shade for your seedlings. The other thing we did was we built these tables, and that's worked out pretty well. I was able to stage seedlings down underneath to get used to kind of indirect sunlight. And then once they've been in here for several days, we can move them up to the top or move them out from underneath the tables to be exposed. So that's how we've kind of managed the sunlight, and that's worked out pretty well. As far as watering, we've got our water source right here, just got a hose, and it's really easy to keep things watered. As far as the trays, on the hotter days, they do need to be hit probably about twice, but as far as watering, we're keeping things moist. The third challenge, keeping things hydrated, we do that by having a pretty thick or pretty deep seed trays for most of our stuff, so that you can water deeply and it pretty much lasts the whole day. We also set things up to bottom water by having holes in our cups that are drainage holes, and filling these quad trays up with about an inch of water. It soaks things up, and then as the leaves sweat or the plants perspirate, they draw up the water they need, and that seems to work well as far as keeping things hydrated the way they need to be. That's tomato. That's San Marzano. The fourth challenge of the greenhouse, other than the temperature and the sunlight and the moisture, is also making sure your plants are fed, which is really more a challenge of seed starting than the greenhouse. But to do that, I've got a weekly feed, organic fertilizer that I spray here, to feed the plants. There's also the soil mix I use has got some worm castings in it to also provide nutrients. Probably the last thing is making sure the hardening off process, that you've got a space like this so that your plants can be agitated, so that the stems will be strengthened by the wind, and get hardened off sufficiently enough so that you can actually move these plants out of the greenhouse and into the garden, and they'll actually survive instead of just being wind whipped and pretty beat up, and more than likely not survive if you don't do anything like that. I could rig up a fan inside the greenhouse to do that earlier on, if we wanted to. And that would probably be a benefit for the cold weather seedlings, where maybe it's still too cold yet to set them out, but we want them to be strengthened through some agitation. We would put a small fan in here over the seed trays, to an oscillating fan, vegetate the seedlings and strengthen them. But for the warm weather ones, having them outside on nice days like this with some protection works out. No, we want to leave that where that is, okay? Works out pretty well. So for that, you know, Dad just rigged up. He's got some sawhorses, a piece of a ladder, and we just set the trays on there, and it's worked out well. So during the day, they're on the bench here, and then at night they get put in so the critters don't get to these. You know, if there's any deer that come along or whatever.
They could just do like break all over the front.
So all in all, I've been pretty pleased with the greenhouse. I know Dad's getting a lot of enjoyment out of it. You know, we did some things early on to make things nice, like the horse mats. These 3/4 inch rubber mats that were 4x8. We rigged those up. We had to take the corners off of them to get them to lay down flat because this base is exactly 4x8. But that's really helped. It's kept the weeds down. There was a little bit of a smell at the beginning as you know, the chemicals from the rubber or whatever, but I mean now it's all aired out. We don't have that anymore. Keeps the weeds down, provides a nice work surface. And then we've got, you know, a little entryway here to keep mud at a minimum. It's a nice solid kind of entryway.
What do you think's doing the best?
Probably the tomatoes at this point, bud.
Yeah, the tomatoes or the Swiss chard?
I'll take a look.
Which one is the orange Swiss chard? This?
Yeah, the ones that have the orange base there, bud. So anyway, I highly recommend if you got the resources, you know, or you're gifted a greenhouse like I was. I've enjoyed it. We've learned a lot, and just in the first season here. Hopefully, you know, this fall will be even better. Next season will be even better. So I guess that's it for now. Until next time, happy gardening. Bye.